Let's get this party started.
Coverage tight, spotlight on tomorrow. Who you with? Trust, you'll be delighted that you followed. At Phirst Contention, the invention. We debate sports, of course we should mention. What's that? We cover games, we don't play suspensions. We 100, so if your star's missing, we let you know your squad surely gone fishing. We never fish though, no, not our motto. We sport on deals, on court, on fields. The victors, the vengeance, the legends, latest invention. Phirst Contention.
Salutations, everybody. Welcome back to another installment of Phirst Contention. I am your host today, Ty Sosina, and as always, we got the two guys that be holding it down. We got Marvin Banks. What's up, Marv?
I said, hola, senors and senoritas. I am reporting from Minneapolis today. Don't know where I'll be at tomorrow.
Where in the world is Marvin Banks? Minneapolis. You have your answer. Let's go over to the East Coast where we got Stephen Davis. What's up, sir? What's up, good sir?
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Strive higher every day.
All right. Bang, bang. Let's get right into it. We are 3 weeks into the NFL season. So many storylines to talk about. A lot going on in the league. Guys, 3 weeks in. Nothing's set in stone. There are a lot of perpetrators right now, and they will separate themselves in the weeks to come. But, Mark, tell me, what has been the biggest headline do you think so far about this season?
The biggest headline about this season has to be the way that the second teams in each of these divisions are playing. I'm talking about the Miami Dolphins and the Kansas City Chiefs. We all knew that Denver and the Patriots was going to run away with the division. That's fine. We already knew that. But to have those two teams still undefeated in the AFC brings a lot of concern to both the Broncos and the Patriots. They both can do things that can really cause harm and really cause some things for the Patriots and the Broncos to lose their grip on the division. The Chiefs can control the clock to keep that high-power offense off the field, and the Dolphins can get after the quarterback to keep Tom Brady off his feet. So I think those two have to be the biggest surprises within the NFL so far in Week 3.
Good point, good point. Definitely, I'm sure a lot of people noticed that. Steve, what have you taken away from the season so far?
Okay, so we definitely knew that Denver would come out strong and be looking like a Super Bowl contender already. But what has surprised me the most is how good their defense has been playing without Champ Bailey, Von Miller. They lost a corner last night, but they still, it's the Oakland Raiders, but at the same time, the defense looks formidable. And you can imagine once Von Miller comes back and Champ Bailey comes back, how much, competitive these guys are going to be within their division. They're already blowing people out on offense. And if they can, cause 3 and outs and turnovers on defense, then, this team might, set some records this year. I'm just saying. I don't know. But another thing that surprises me is basically, I don't know.
Well, that's good because you're out of time. Some things I've taken away so far kind of switch what Marvin said. You have these second-tier teams in each division stepping up. Let's talk about the people who have been to the promised land, who are actually taking some steps back. I will not include the Packers in this, even though they seem, they got time to get things right. But let's talk about Washington. Let's talk about the Texans. They're taking a step back, especially on offense. Aaron Foster looks like a mere shell of his former self. Let's talk about the 49ers, who look absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible in the last 2 games, except for the win against the aforementioned Green Bay Packers. But, there's a lot of weird things going on. Again, there's still more time, so let's not jump to any conclusions.
Ty, before you continue, Ty, I like the way that you ignored the Steelers. You cannot ignore the Steelers.
Man, come on, man. Whatever, man. We ain't here to talk about that, Jamar.
Ty, you said the Packers that got to win. You said the Niners that have
here, man. It's still early.
All these other teams that have a win, but you did not say the Steelers. Wow.
whatever, man.
And I did for good reason. Like I said, I'm talking about teams that won their divisions last year, not teams that missed the playoffs. Like I said, they would miss the playoffs.
Oh, okay. Forget both of y'all. We got the Vikings.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to rub it in a little bit, Steve. But something I will say, I know we tweeted about this, Steve. Peyton Manning, after game 1 I said this, Peyton Manning, MVP. Book it. Let's move on to our second topic. We also have college football going on. And we're 4 weeks in now. And, it's been a good season so far. You've got your out-of-conference play, but this past week was a little bit different. You got a number of losses. Let's talk about the U beating on Savannah State 77-7. The Ohio State beating on Florida A&M 76-0. Louisville giving it to Florida International 72-0 amongst other games. I mean, let's talk about this interconference play and these small schools going to bigger schools. I mean, have we simply had enough of it? Because it wasn't a very entertaining weekend. Steve, what you think?
You know what? I look at this situation, I've always thought about it as, there are some positives and there are some negatives that come with it. I mean, you got teams that come up, they really don't have a chance, but for them, they're a small school, they get, national exposure, they get plenty of money to kind of help out their franchise, but at the same time, they go out there, they get embarrassed, they're definitely not on the level of whatever team they're playing against. And the game is practically boring to watch on TV. But for these schools, like I say, man, it gives them that exposure. It gives them opportunities to kind of get new jerseys or whatever they need as far as sponsorships and things like that. And as an athlete, when you're playing like that, you're getting ready for the Big Ten or SEC conference, play. That's not really preparing you, for those matchups. It's kind of like, preseason warm-ups, where you can kind of scrimmage each other, in practice. It might be more competitive, but I mean, I don't know what they can do to kind of get rid of that. You don't want to take too many losses at the beginning of the season, but at the same time, you just want to embarrass everybody too.
True. Marv.
To answer Steve's question, there is a solution that these power conferences can do, but I have to agree with Steve on the standpoint that yes, it gives them exposure, and yes, the money that these teams are receiving to play the Ohio States, the Louisvilles, the University of Miamis, and some of these other schools help support the rest of the sports there for their particular schools. So it might be 30% of what they're making just from playing that one game. So you might take a blowout. But for these power conferences, why not have a 10-game schedule? Why not only schedule teams to have just like basketball, the ACC Big 10 challenge, or have a SEC Big 12 challenge, or a Pac-10, Pac-12 Big 10 challenge, or something like that to really incorporate some of these marquee games. People want to see Oregon versus Ohio State, or Florida versus Oklahoma. Teams and people want to see these particular matchups and not the FSUs FIUs versus Florida States or University of Miami's or things like that.
Right. And if they do want these ones, come play the Gophers. Come play the Gophers. Get a win in your schedule. Just kidding. They're looking decent this year.
So I wanted to add a little something. Just think.
Go ahead, Steve.
Just think about in the future, like when we're gonna have these playoffs, as far as the national championship comes. If you think about it like in those terms, if you play early season games against opponents that are actually good, the thinking is now you don't want to take that risk and kind of lose and kind of help. Deter your opportunities to get into the national picture. But if you take that early season loss with a playoff kind of system inbound, that really won't hurt you because you still have an opportunity to kind of get that championship. And then at the same time, you can kind of see where you are early in the season to kind of improve. So maybe in the future they might start doing more games like that.
Good ideas. Two great ideas. I love it, Marv. Conference versus conference, and then Steve. A playoff system eliminates all fear of losing an early game. Great ideas. Great ideas. We've got some intelligent minds on this show. I tell you. Let's move on to our last topic of the show. MLB. It's been a long season. Matter of fact, it's still going, but it's about wrapping up. So we're seeing who is going to head into, let's see, inside the American League, we've got Boston. No, I think that you see Boston taking that division. Oakland, Detroit, and Cleveland, they're battling outside the Central, and a bunch of other teams trying to get some playoff spots here, including the Yankees, who, believe it or not, have their hat inside the ring right now. The National League, you got Atlanta, St. Louis, the Dodgers, Cincinnati, and my personal favorite, the Pittsburgh Pirates. Let me tell you a quick little story before we get started. This happened in junior high. I was in the back of the bus. Remember the back of the bus? This is where the cool kids sat. And we were having a conversation about the MLB, and they said, this guy, I'll never forget this, he said, you know what team you should look out for this year? The Pirates. I think this is the year. All these years later, they are finally in the playoffs. Good for them. I'm hoping for good things for them. Mark, what do you think about the MLB playoffs so far?
Like you said, I think it's about time for Pittsburgh to come back on the map. It's been since '92. The black and gold is coming. Everything in Pittsburgh is black and gold. The Steelers, the Penguins, the Pirates, things of that nature. So. And, of course, Pittsburgh has to have a winning team since there's another team in Pittsburgh that's
you really going to bash my team, man.
Kind of winless, like I was saying. My dream for the NL pennant would be the Dodgers and the Pirates in the NL pennant battling out. The reason being is me being from Milwaukee, down with everything that's in St. Louis and down with everything that's in the Reds. The Pirates have been a doormat for teams for a number of years. Every time the Pirates would come in town, the teams were like, that's a 3-game sweep, chalk that up in a victory. But now, since they're back on the map,
so why would that change?
Andrew McCutchen, MVP of the NL this year.
Hey, I ain't got no disagreements with that. I'm glad there's an African American baseball player who's getting some shine this year, and I hope he does get that. But at the same time, the Cardinals are in the playoffs once again, and you can never, ever, 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 ever count us out. And we missed the opportunity last year to get 12-12. Maybe we get 12-13. The only team I'm really scared about is the Dodgers because Yusel Puig, that dude is a freak, and he can kind of alter a game. So that will be an interesting matchup if that happens in the NLCS. As far as the AL, I have no idea what's going to happen over there. Those teams are kind of up in the air. I will be disappointed if the Yankees make the playoffs, though, just because A-Rod is still on the team. He's still making an impact. His appeal is going forever. I mean, he's not getting suspended for nothing now. I mean, it might have been over, but at the same time, you got these other teams. You got Cabrera, who can kind of maybe in the line and get another Triple Crown. He can possibly redeem himself. Who knows? The Athletics was hot last year. Maybe they can, redeem themselves from losing, early last year and kind of, go on the road this year. You never know with the AL right now. So my bet is that the NL will win another championship this year, and it'll either be the Dodgers, I doubt it, or the Cardinals. Which I highly.
You are long-winded tonight. Hey, you know what, folks? That was all the time we have. Thank you, Steve, very, very much. But we appreciate you watching. If you liked the video, which we're going to hope and assume that you did, go ahead and like us on YouTube, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. If you didn't like the video, like us on YouTube, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. Don't forget, send a question to us at Phirst Contention or any one of us, and we will debate your question right here on the show. For Marvin, Steve, I'm Ty Solcina. Signing off.
Ride with Phirst Contention, that's full throttle in. We sport on deals, on court, on fields. The victors, the vengeance, the legends, latest invention. Phirst Contention. We sport on deals, on court, on fields. The victors, the vengeance, the legends, latest invention. Game face grit, like born for playoffs. Say it all in small time like payoffs.